Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Greenbridge Community Housing Podcast. We're joined today by Camilla King, the High Sheriff of Bedfordshire, in her pomp and splendour. I'm so excited for this podcast because I met you at the afternoon tea for Food Bank. I don't know if you remember our taste. It was quite rowdy. And we were like, oh, that looks lovely. What's she dressed as? Why is she all dressed up? So tell us about the role, Camilla, of a High Sheriff. What is it? I was always curious to know, one, why you had to dress like this. Is this like a nationwide thing that everyone from different counties has to dress the same?
There are 52 High Sheriffs in every county in England and Wales. And because it's a very historic position, the tradition goes with the uniform as well as what we get up to. So the men wear breeches and tailcoats and tights.
I saw that.
And carry a sword.
Yes, I saw that as well.
Which I could have actually worn that outfit, but I decided to be more ladylike and theatrical, and therefore in having a skirt, a dress, a coat, no trousers, I'm not allowed to carry a sword.
Oh.
But I have my lovely Austral peasant, and I have my lovely lace and my sparkly buckles.
Yeah.
So, it's very much part of it. I love it because I know what I'm wearing every time I go out.
That must be lovely. I hate it because after every podcast I do, I think, should I have that top on call? I don't like to wear the same thing. I get really stressed out about clothing, as you remember.
Yes. So I appear like this at 99% of outfits, unless yesterday I went and planted a tree, and therefore I did put my wellies and my big coat on, and we have a insignia, we call it.
Okay.
So I wore that just to show who I was.
Right. So the role of a High Sheriff. What is the role is to, because people won't understand. I never knew what it was until I said to Selma, who's that? So she said, what does she do? She says, she comes, like in ceremonies, talks. But I think generally people would want to know what the role of a High Sheriff is. So can you tell us what that is?
So the current role of the High Sheriff, rather than what it was in the past, is very much going out and thanking the community for what it gets up to. I am the King's representative for law and order and the emergency services, but along with that, it's all the charities and the voluntary sector supporting those.
Right.
So I have a very big link with the police, the courts. I go and sit in on the courts and appreciate what the judges and all the backing up staff are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing various departments of the police force, so I've been out with SOCO, I've been out with response cars, the PCSOs, I'm just about to go out with the rural guys and the police. So it's going to see them, thanking them, appreciating what they're doing, being interested, and then potentially giving them ideas, signposting, networking, in that I'm meeting so many people around the county.
Right.
As you've seen today, I've suggested various things for greenhouse.
Yeah.
Greenbridge has.
Yeah, that's okay. But yes, so is it a networking role? Is that predominantly what it is?
Very much.
Right. So. Why did you choose to become a High Sheriff?
Oh, so I'm not sure I chose to do it, but I was asked if I would like to do it, and then investigating what goes on. I was interviewed by some very big people in the county, so a Justice, a JP, the Bishop of Bedford, other High Sheriffs, and then there's a committee of 12, so I was interviewed to see whether I was appropriate. In that lead up to why I was asked was because I have done a lot of charity work over the years. I've nearly always lived in Bedfordshire. I was brought up here. I have a lot of links with people in the county. So I know people.
You know people.
I understand how it works. And that's why I think, originally suggested that I put myself up for doing it.
What was the process? You said there was a panel of 12. Was that quite intense or?
Oh, luckily I was it was in COVID, so it was all on Zoom. But
so you didn't have to actually stand in front. Oh, so you know that's I prefer a Zoom.
I was really lucky.
Yeah.
Having just seen or having been part of other High Sheriffs interviews and how nerve-wracking it is for them in real, 1 to 12.
Yeah.
Yes, I was let off.
So that was quite a let off, wasn't it? Really.
Very much so.
What's the term of a High Sheriff?
I only do a year, sadly. So I've only got about 5-6 weeks left. I finish at the end of March. Just a year's role.
Yeah, and there's that for everybody. Everyone just does a year. Everybody does. Can you be not re-elected? Is the word? Can you come back or?
It's not really known to come back, except where people were High Sheriff in the COVID year and therefore didn't do very much.
Right, so they may
need to do it again.
Right.
But no, I think let's give everybody a chance to do it. It's such a wonderful role that, definitely let other people in the county.
Yeah. What's been the highlight so far? Because you've only got 6 weeks left.
6 weeks.
And everyone goes, I can't pick a highlight, but never one.
I think the overall highlight is seeing how many wonderful charities and voluntary sectors are that support just so many different groups of people. So the homeless, the people with mental health, just getting communities out, loneliness, that. The PCN, primary care units in Luton, are very good at encompassing all members of the community.
They are,
which are very good.
Yeah.
Similar happens locally elsewhere. Health Watch is a good one where they bring a lot of the providers under one roof to give the community. I went to an elderly person's one in Rufus Centre in Flitwick, where there was all sorts for the older generation.
Big centre, isn't it?
Big centre.
I was there week before last for Mind. Mind have got a big unit there. I've never been.
No, it's a great unit.
Great
to use.
unit.
Yes. I use it for my scouting training. So they have lots of conference space or meeting space, etc.
Yeah.
Do that. So.
How does your family support what you do?
Well, my girls can cook, so they have helped at various events I've run. And my husband, he washes the car, fills the car with petrol, and walks the dogs. He very occasionally turns up, but actually it's not really his interest, so he's very busy doing other things.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he still working, the husband? Or?
He does a bit, yeah. He is semi-retired.
Yeah. So how does that... So what are you going to do in 6 weeks' time? Are you going to be sad?
I'm going to be extremely sad, but I do know I've made some great contacts that I can always go back to. I have tried to keep my activities that I did before being High Sheriff going, so that I would have them from April. So I'm still a group scout leader. I run a big fair in Woburn Safari Park, raising money for local charities. We've just given Chums 24,000 from the fair we had in November.
Wow, that's the children's support network, if you like. Yeah. Okay.
And so, and I also do some schools outreach for a livery company in London around horticulture. So encouraging children to go into horticulture if they don't want to be sitting at a desk all day. They could be mowing the grass at one of the football stadiums. They could be climbing a tree. They could be a florist. It's just careers round growing and lovely green things. Yeah, so I'll be going back to do a lot of that.
Is that passion of yours and horticulture?
Well, one of. I just think the children need to know what's out there careers-wise, and whether horticulture doesn't... float their boat, they potentially need to know what is out there. And it seems to be very much careers is accountancy, finance, or whatever, but there are lots of other things for children.
And do you do that? So with your scout group, is that something that you encourage actively for them to start looking early on at other careers outside of what we call the norm?
So a couple of weeks ago we bought the police cadets in with and the leader bought a Pritzl van, So they all had a go at being locked in the cells, seeing a truncheon, dressing up in uniform, and also because they're now the age, they were allowed to see the drug boxes, which are samples of all the different drugs that they potentially could come across.
That's
so mine goes at 10.5 to 13. So it's that age, and typically they need to know now before it potentially could happen to them. There's various other things. They can go and try to get them into DHL's distribution unit to see how distribution goes. I can do all sorts of things around trying to give them ideas.
Yeah. Because logistics was my background. I used to work for TNT.
Okay.
There are other providers out there, but, I worked there for about 15 years. It's fascinating business because it's something we're always going to need. You can't get... nothing's going to be able to drive this from this station to there. You've got to always have delivery drivers. You always have to have some sort of network, some sort of tracking system. So it's a great career for young people to get involved in because it's something that can't be taken over by a computer. Computer can't physically take your classes from here to your house. It has to be transported. So it's about, I think, also getting young people to look at industries that won't be obsolete in 10, 15, 20 years' time. It's really important because the market, I feel, is quite saturated at the moment. And when they're in school, I haven't been into a school for a long time, so I'd actually like to go into school. They say to them at 11 and 12, what do you want to do? I mean, come on. They've only just had their breakfast. They can't even think about what they get. Some of them all know they want to follow in dad's footsteps or mum's footsteps, but a majority of them haven't got a clue.
No idea. And it's also very difficult to give work experience these days because of the health and safety.
Yes.
So careers fairs are good. So I go to careers fairs in central London with plants and all sorts of things so they can feel, touch mint plants. There's about 5 or 6 different varieties that taste lemony, spearminty, chocolatey, whatever.
Should have brought some today.
Yes, done. We should have had a look at that. But it is that practical side of realising what there is out there.
Yeah.
And so,
what about your own children? Are they behind? Do they have any aspirations to be a High Sheriff in the future?
No, not at the moment. They think it's quite funny, Mummy going off to do this role. One's in finance, one's in the travel industry, and the other one is hoping to quickly go skiing on a ski job. So, well, it'll be interesting to see whether they enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think they're far too young to really appreciate what Mummy does. They just think she's mad and she goes.
Do you get like a sense of achievement when you go to an event and people say to you, why are you dressed like that? Or what do you do? Do you get a sense of achievement explaining what you do?
I think it's more what I've done actually at the event. So either I've networked, signposted, given somebody some ideas. So I went to something the other day where a girl is going to go do a master's in a terrorism course, or whatever, counter-terrorism.
Right.
There was a police lady in the room who does counter-terrorism. So matching her together with this 22-year-old,
perfect,
who will then give her a bit of experience. I'm not sure quite what they decided to do, but I think she's got a day in counter-terrorism seeing what happens.
Wow.
So it's that where I've made a difference just to one person or just giving people some ideas. So one of my big things is people really lack volunteers.
Yes.
People are reluctant to volunteer, especially the slightly older ones who want to go away in term time, go on their holidays, but a lot of the charities are during term time.
That's right, yeah.
So I said you need to do job descriptions for charity roles, volunteer roles, and at the bottom, write, if you want to go on holiday, we can always find people to cover you, even if they do 8 weeks out of 10, 7 weeks out of 10. How useful is that to the charity?
Yeah.
And realising that there is a role for them and they don't have to be 100% committed.
Yeah. How would you, or what would you say to listeners that want to volunteer, that want to get involved in the various charities in and around Bedfordshire? What would you say to them? Maybe look at what they're interested in and then volunteer there? Or would you say just offer, I don't know, once a month for your time. What would you say to people that really want to volunteer?
Oh, it's very personal how much they want to volunteer. Some people do 3 or 4 times a week. Some people do once a month. And actually, a couple of events I only do once a year, so they only turn up on the day to help and
Right.
Love that experience. So you've really got to look at your lifestyle and decide how much time you can give. And then, yes, do something that interests you. There's no point in doing football if you don't like football, or there's no point...
Oh, careful on that one, Camilla.
If you don't like football.
We love football.
We love football, but not everybody loves football.
No,
I'm
they
not
don't.
saying I don't love football. I've been to see Luton ladies play at Barton, which is very good fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't, if you're not interested in it, don't do it. So really look at what you can do. You might not want to be a scout leader because you might not want to end up sleeping in tents, but or in the mud.
No. Definitely. Happy to make the tea and coffee. I remember when the boys done beavers. Do they still have beavers? Yeah. So my boys both done beavers, life skills, sleeping out, lighting a fire and all this sort of thing. And it came to the weekend that I think it was Rest Park, or they were going to sleep out somewhere. And they said, because I did the tea and coffee. I was happy to do. They said, "Oh my God, you're going to make a fantastic one." I said, "To sleep outside?" "Oh no." So my husband had to go.
I sleep out a lot, but you learn how to keep warm.
Right, tell us how you keep warm in a tent,
so
in the winter.
I don't do too wintry, but you need to have a t-shirt on. You need to have a onesie on because the back gets cold.
Right.
You need to have something around your neck because your head and here all cozy. Then your sleeping bag with a hot water bottle inside, of course. And the higher off the ground you are, the better.
So an inflatable blow-up bed.
And actually, as I've got older, I've now got one of those fisherman camp beds.
Oh dear. So do you still sleep out?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm quite happy to. Actually, I love the fresh air.
I love fresh air, but not at night.
As long as I'm warm, I'm all right. Socks, and I might get out in the middle of the night and relight the fire and fill my hot water bottle again.
That's the bed. I never thought about the hot water bottle.
You can get long hot water bottles.
I saw
There's a light. That's
those.
it
They
heats the whole.
heat the body.
Yeah.
So clever. Talking about sleep out, we supported Noah when they did the big sleep out at Silverstone. It was the worst weather the UK had experienced on that Friday, if you remember that Friday with the storms. And Lisa, who's my boss, and Leah, who's the assistant manager, who you would have met when you came over, said, "Oh, are you going to sleep?" I said, "Oh, no. No.
Does that surprise me?
No." But it was at the pits. You know the pits at Silverstone? Mm. So they had a cardboard. So they were given cardboard. They had to make a makeshift because it was to support homeless people. So how would they, once they find cardboard, what do they do with it? So they just gave you flat pack. You had to make this makeshift, I suppose, shelter. There was no provisions. You weren't allowed tea and coffee. There was nothing. It was literally just how to replicate and to try and understand how a homeless person felt. And having done it on the worst, the storms were horrific. I felt slightly guilty saying, "Bye, girls. Hope you sleep well." But they did it, and it was amazing.
Yes, most people finished it.
Yes,
save up.
It was a really good bed, and I think Noah are replicating that in Luton in March. But it's a great way to raise awareness for, I can't even imagine what that must feel like. They done it for 24, 12 hours, whatever. But to do that consistently over days and months and years, I can't imagine.
And then having to clear up your bed every morning and trundle around with it and lay it back down again so they're up for next night. Yeah. And, I think horrific, but there are some very good charities that support the homeless, so they can go in and have a wash, wash their clothes, get replacement clothes, get a hot meal. So Noah's very good. There's the Smart Prevent Street in Bedford, and there's various others who do a sterling job for the homeless.
So we are very, is lucky the right word? I think it is. But there is that support out there for homeless people. And there's big stigma, as I'm sure you're aware, around homelessness. and we want to try and combat that. Have you got any ideas how we can combat that stigma that's...
I think there needs to be more stories on social media. Homeless person A has the reason she is homeless is XYZ, and perhaps that's people understanding the background and the stories of why they're there, and then who is there then now to help them. Greenbridge, for example.
Yeah.
And Noah initially, and that there is help out there. I mean, for some of them, sadly, it's a vicious circle because they'll go into accommodation and it doesn't work. They can't control the expense, or it just doesn't work for them. They end up back out again.
Yeah, it is a vicious cycle. And I think it's really important for people to understand that everyone is 2 paychecks away from...
That's frightening, isn't it?
And
so frightening.
Those statistics came out last week and I was like, that can't be right. Then we read through the stories and you read through the stats. And I thought, wow. So it's really about making sure that you prepare and save and don't, everyone, we all love a takeaway and all the rest of it and clothes and whatever. But it is really about the economy right now being careful and budgeting and making sure that, again, eating healthily, but looking at alternatives to not having the most expensive. But it's really difficult because fruit, vegetables, salads, the most expensive thing.
Yeah, really. So there are various food groups out there teaching children mainly, but they do encourage the parents to come to cooking from scratch.
Yes.
Rather than buying your jar of tomato sauce that's costing nearly £4, you can make it from a tin of tomatoes and an onion and a little hut. So there's a lot more of that to try and help conserve costs, reduce costs. There's, especially in Bedford, I presume it happens here, there is a furniture depository where people can ring up and say, I really need a bed, I really need a chest of drawers. BHPA, the Housing Association in Bedford, links up with this group who provide the furniture. We're putting so-and-so into a house tomorrow or into a flat tomorrow. Can you bring them a chest of drawers and a bed? And they deliver like that. And they're all volunteers, those guys. Yeah. And then various people donate
the furniture as well.
Because that's what's needed. They're given an empty space.
Yes.
Not even a kettle. And then there's the odd charity that will give Argos vouchers and things like that so that they can go and buy a kettle, a duvet, or whatever.
Yes,
there are some good...
I think, and it really kind of depends on what supported housing that you are given, because we do give our service users all of those essential necessities right from day one. So, they're given the bed, the bedding, cutlery, cooking utensils, mop and bucket, hoover, all those things that you just won't have.
No, you won't.
So, when they do move into one of our properties, it isn't too, it's daunting enough moving in, but if you've moved in and you've got some real essentials there already, makes the process a little bit smoother.
Well, you're fantastic. That doesn't happen with every provider, sadly.
Yeah.
And we've been known that a family have gone in and there's been no carpets, it's concrete, rubbly floor, and they've got a toddler crawling across the floor.
Oh,
there they
wow.
are. So, yeah. So
another story for another day.
A really sad story, yeah.
How do people get hold of you if they want you to? So do you go and open fairs? Do you go and open school? What? How do they get hold of you to come and be at their event?
And just promote my website. So High Sheriff of High Sheriff of Bedfordshire.org. It's the website. There's lots of information about the history and lots of photos of what we've all been up to. And then it's info@highsheriffofbedfordshire.org is the email that's generic. So it comes to me at the moment, but that will be carried on and given to the forthcoming High Sheriff.
Okay. So if they've got anything after March, they will still be able
to use that email.
They'll use that email address.
And invite us to whatever you think. I go to openings, judgings, I go to university graduation ceremonies. I just go and chat to people and see what they're all up to. I planted a tree, as I said, I planted a tree yesterday. I'm going to cadets tonight to tell the cadets what High Sheriff's all about. No police cadets. Police cadets. Right. I am going to Beavers and Cubs at some stage in Brick Hill in Bedford, and then there's one in Luton I will go to as well. The variety is huge. I do bits of work with the mayors and go to their civic services. I go and sit in with the High Court judges, and if they would like, we entertain them. I have an under-sheriff that does a lot of the links with the courts and the judicial system.
Right.
So she and I will take people out and entertain them, and you tend to feed ideas in, and they feed ideas to us. We feed ideas out there.
So it is really a big networking role, isn't it?
It is big time.
It is. I know that. Not painfully well. That's not the right word I'm going to say. Very well.
Very well. It's a good role, and hopefully I've done some good over my year, and I've got a lot up in my here now that I will remember and be able to carry on
networking people into the future. What's something about you that the public might not necessarily know?
Oh, golly gosh. So in March 2022, when war broke out in Ukraine, I rang a Ukraine English friend of mine and said, how are we going to help? And between her and I, her doing the networking with a town called Oleshki in southern Ukraine, which is now totally occupied by the Russians, south of Kherson.
Right.
We brought over 100 people into Bedford, mainly from the same town, so they all then had friends locally.
Yeah.
I did the relationship with the sponsors under the Home for Ukraine sponsorship system. So we have a lovely community of Ukrainians, and I've still got mine. I have a mother, a father, and an older father, and a 10-year-old is still living in a small annex in my house.
They live with you?
They live with me, and I've had them for 3.5 years, and they are very, very lovely. They're supported. They're supported by the council a bit, but actually, they're not supported by the council now. They were initially. They both go out to work. So actually, I get a bit of funding for having them, which is part of the deal. Yeah, that pays their bills.
Yeah.
And then they go out to work. So the mother's cleaning and the father does lots of building and gardening. And
that's amazing.
Outdoor work.
It's
very lovely.
Very
nice.
Oh, that's a lovely thing. I wouldn't have known that.
You wouldn't have known that. There we go. So I knew
everybody knows. That's literally the 100 live in a community within the town, or they spread?
No, they're spread out around the town by different families like us. So we got them into homes.
Families.
Yes,
that's amazing.
I haven't got 100 living with me.
No. But that is something that no one would necessarily know about you. What are you going to miss about the role, or all of it?
Being able to dress up beautifully like this. I just think meeting the fantastic people that I've met and hopefully I will keep meeting them, but there won't be as many opportunities. But there are some fantastic volunteers and people doing their daily job that go beyond and above and do tricky jobs, particularly the police and what they have to see, and especially it's Bedford and Luton aren't the safest, and
it's a difficult role now.
Tricky town.
Yeah, we've now made links with Luton Police. Just got an email before I sat down here to have those links with Bedford Police, just so that our support workers and our service users, but specifically our support workers, when they're going out and maybe dealing with antisocial behaviour or dealing with an area that's got a specific problem, and that they have got a contact there that they can say, okay, this is really causing us a problem in this property or in this area. What do you suggest we do? How can we tackle it? Can we tackle it together? So it is really about organisations, I believe, working closely with the police to break down those barriers, because everyone sees a policeman and the back goes up straight away, but when you're in trouble, they're the first people you've got to call. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we work closer with them and get the public on board to make sure that everyone's safe? So though there are those difficult areas that you've spoken about, I think they will always be difficult, but how can we make them less difficult.
Well, the police have a community service team out there.
Yes.
Yeah, and they are great, and they're on to all sorts of events just to be seen, to be appreciating and realising what everybody does.
Yes.
And then they are there if you suddenly need them, and they will. Yeah. Well, the response units will go if it's very bad, but the community teams are good to chat to.
Yeah, we have been engaging with them quite closely. When do you finish in March? Because we've got an event.
27th.
Oh, just in time. So on the 25th of March, we have our very first community soup kitchen at our premises. Well, you would have been at the old premises. We've now moved because we've grown so quickly. So we've moved to another premises. We'd love you to come.
Thank you.
And see. It's an outreach project. So we'll be feeding, clothing, giving hygiene products to not only our service users, but homeless and anyone in the town that actually feels that they need some support with regards to food. So it's a team effort. We're all working hard behind the scenes to kind of get people and the public, the police, everyone that is prolific in the town to have a presence. If you could come along and wear all of this.
I hope I can come. I'll have to check my diary.
Yeah, do check your diary.
Thank you very much for doing that, because that's what Luton needs, and also bringing everyone in together to show what you're doing, and they will support you. And if I can support you in any way, let me know. I have got a Scout Jumble sale in March, so if you need particular clothes, I can pull out some bits, smaller sizes. That's what I've been told. So because sadly homeless people
are smaller, and we do end up getting like double XL, and which is great. But it is smaller. Any clothing items are always welcome, because they can still go to various organisations and use the washing machines, etc. in the day, and it's just really having that extra set of clothes, as the weather starts to change. This rain has just, please God, let it stop at some stage. I don't think we need this much rain.
41 days, they said on the news today.
I know. Rain. We don't know how far I know, but I know it's necessary. I know the world needs it to go round, but we don't need it at the moment. But so, yeah, if you could, that would be great. We'll have a conversation when the podcast is finished.
Yeah. Thank you.
But it's been really lovely having you. I've learnt so much. And it's insightful to always network and keep those close connections. It's really important. I feel someone could come up with an idea. You just said smaller clothes. Great. Perfect for us. And just anything that we can do to support you in the future, we will keep in touch.
Well, I'd very much like to keep in touch, and I very much like to support you, and so keep me...
Lovely. Thank you.
Keep telling me what you're up to.
Oh, yes. We'll keep sending you the newsletters. Please be aware of... we get a monthly newsletter that tells us everything that's happened, everything that's in the process. But now we've also got save the dates. So you'll be able to see we've got a big charity football match coming up in June at the end of the season to support Jackie Carrington, who was on a podcast. Unfortunately, her son committed suicide. And she'd only spoke to him that morning. And she was, she kind of, as a mother, you're going to say, did he say something that I didn't quite pick up on? So what we're doing with Jackie and Dunstable Town is we're raising funds for a commemorative bench, because he was the groundsman at Leeds United, and went missing from there. And then they phoned Jackie. They're like, he hasn't turned up. It's not like him. And then the whole story unravelled. So also the purpose of the charity football match is to raise awareness around men's mental health. I know there's a lot out there at the moment, but again, women do have quite a big support network. Men don't tend to talk as much, and we just want to get them talking. We're going to have people there on the day that run men's mental health groups, so they'll be able to, they don't want to talk to us as women, they could go along and talk to a guy, or can I take your number and meet up. So it really is just about raising awareness around men's mental health, and raising funds for the bench for Jackie and Matt, who unfortunately are still going, because it's only last May, so they're still going through that transition. I have set up a family support group. Individuals get support, but families don't. So how can we help the sister that's left behind, the brother, the uncle, the auntie, who all would have who would have been impacted by it. So we're looking at setting up a support group for them as well. So if you could come in, it would be great.
Thank you. And thank you to all you guys for, it's not just providing accommodation, it's the support, the extras, and you need to blow your trumpet so that everyone really realises what you're up to, your social media platforms or whatever. Do case studies on who you've helped, what you've got for people. Please just do as much as that as possible, and we'll try and share that all out.
I have to say, he'll be blowing everything up. So that not. I'll take that back in case the police are listening. He'll be making sure that our social media platforms are at the forefront of everything that's happening in the town that we're involved with, who we're partnershiping with. It really is just about making sure we're all doing the same thing. So if we do it collectively, it will be much better for everybody. So it's really about making sure that this partnership stay strong and that we stay in touch, that we're aware of what's happening, and coming up with ideas to help and support each other.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for all you do.
Oh,
it's amazing, and I'm really impressed, and I'm so grateful that you are there doing that, because sadly there's not enough provision of it.
Yes, I hear that. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to be really sad because we built up a lovely little friendship, but we will keep in touch.
No, definitely.
And definitely we'll keep you posted on everything that we're doing.
Thank you very much, and it's been good fun chatting to you.
Oh, thank you.